Hi, everybody. We are about 2 weeks away from the exam. Today, I am sharing tips for you that have been pulled out from a ABA webinar that the American Bar Association did. I will put a link for you to go to that actual video. This is just a capture of a couple of sections that they covered in that video. Specifically, there was a section on what to do for exam week. Now, I have said that you should really be treating this advice for the last 2 weeks, not just the exam week. And for some of you, it will be the last 2 to 3 weeks. So if you go back to the video, I recorded the videos actually of what to do in the last 3 weeks. That's also applicable to now as well, because it's about 2 to 3 weeks that you would be preparing similarly. And now that we're getting into week 2, I want to bring back this advice that the ABA, I think it was the young lawyers section that had a little bit of a webinar, and I rearranged the tips they gave a little bit for me to explain to you, because I think during the last 2 weeks here, the most important thing, it may sound counterintuitive, but it's to get plenty of rest. The reason why is you really want to rejuvenate yourself so that you can study during the day. The last 2 weeks is where things start to click and where you will find that you have a little bit more energy to push through. Just be really careful that you don't burn yourself out as it gets closer to the exam day, because it may seem like it's short, but there's a lot of time left. If you push yourself too hard, you may burn out right before the exam. So make sure you pace yourself. That means getting plenty of rest. That doesn't mean sleep all the time, but you do need to sleep. You don't have to sleep for 8 to 10 hours. Probably 6 to 7.5 hours is enough, especially around this time, and you don't need to worry if you have a day or two where you are anxious and are not able to get a full night of sleep. The goal is for you to get very good rejuvenated sleep at night. Therefore, study as hard as you can during the day. As soon as it's time for you to get ready for bed, wind down. And again, I did a session on that, but I didn't do a video. So I will eventually get that up and going as well. But get sleep where it's quality sleep, where you are actually rejuvenated from your rest, refresh yourself so you can get right back at it again the next day. That is how you stay focused. For those of you that haven't seen the 3 weeks before the exam, go back to watch the video about staying focused by making sure that when you wake up, you get outside and you get that sunshine into your eyes so you can anchor that cortisol pulse for you to make sure you get to a point where your sleep pattern becomes more routine and you have good slumber, because your circadian clock is in line with your physical body, and it can help you perform better during the day. The ABA also talked about making a condensed outline at this time. My advice to you all is to not start outlining now. That doesn't mean actually making your outlines now. I think what you should do is you should look at whatever outline you've been working off of and condense those outline, essentially narrowing your topics down for you to study the most important subjects or areas within the subjects first. Remember prioritizing. you need to prioritize what to study at this point. You can't study everything again. So narrow down your outline parts. And again, if you have not seen the video I did about narrowing your MBE subjects down, prioritizing it, go back and watch that and look at the heavily tested subjects. Then the next thing is you need to brush up on everything that you've learned so far. You have learned quite a bit. So go back to some of the earlier subjects. If you started studying with torts at the very beginning, let's say 8 or 10 weeks ago, go back and really brush up on all those areas. You should be bringing everything back and studying more holistically with every subject, doing mixed subject questions, taking practice tests. You guys should have taken a simulated test of some sort by now. It would be a good idea if you haven't to at least do a mini simulated test, and that may mean doing 3 essays for the UBE jurisdiction, 3 essays, 1 MPT, and 50 questions or 100 questions, whatever you think you can tolerate. But you really need to be sitting down and doing some sort of a time test, a simulated test taking condition for you to get a feel for how the exam will go with the timing and when you feel like you will start to need a break. You need to train that stamina. Even if you have taken this exam before, it's been a while now. Even if it was in July, it's been a while now. You need to train your body back into being able to sit through a full exam for 2 days at least. For those of you doing the UBE, some of you may be doing other jurisdictions, or you have extended time accommodations. Make sure you know what those are and how many days you need to sit through, because some of you may be sitting through for 4 days of exam. You want to be able to make your stamina last for all 3 days or 4 days potentially, definitely 2 days. This last item here, I would say you can start now. The last week of the I will have record another video closer to the exam, and some of the confirming logistics and all of that you will also need to consider as it gets closer to the exam. But it may be a good idea for you to now make sure that you know what you can and cannot bring to the exam, especially if you are the type of person that gets anxious. Then go ahead and take care of some of that now, or at least make a list and know what things you need to take care of before the exam, just to get that out of your brain. It is a good idea always, always, always to keep your mindset and attitude in check, because what we do is greatly affected by our mindset and attitude. And this is one of the categories of things that video was giving advice on. And again, I summarized the items here, or it's copy from that video. I will link to it. And you can also go watch the full video if you would like. But a lot of the full video are tips that are in the middle of the preparation period and the beginning. So a lot of those are not applicable. These two are most applicable at this time. You want to make sure the most important thing is just don't question whether or not you're going to pass. Don't ask yourself those existential questions. It won't matter anyway. What you need to do now is focus on the present. Don't worry about the past. Don't ruminate over what happened in the past. Don't look to the future and worry about what could happen, because you don't know and you can't control it. The only way you can control the result of the exam is to do everything you can now by studying as much as you can from now until the exam day. The way you continue to motivate yourself to study for it is making sure you stay positive. It is especially important this time, as it gets closer to the bar exam, for you to keep a positive mind so that you don't get into a place where you panic and won't be able to take advantage of the last 2 weeks of time that you have. Make sure that if you are studying with a study group or a study buddy, or if you see friends online that are also studying for the bar exam, if they are posting anything at this time, people tend to start posting how they're doing and comparing notes. Be very careful if you're prone to comparing yourself to others. Avoid social media and isolate yourself in a sense, so that you can have a laser focus on doing what you need to do to prepare yourself and not worry about the fact that other people did well on some section of the exam. The best thing you can do is just make sure that you face your responsibility head on. You need to do the work now, and you will get rewarded if you keep your why at the forefront. Make sure that you stay well prepared for the exam make sure you're well prepared for the exam by staying very focused and do the hard work. Do the hard work by facing your task and keep practicing as much as you can from now until the exam day. Of course, making sure that you are getting rejuvenated rest so that you don't get burnt out. And as always, ask for help, find a support system. If you don't have a support system, just use this. I'm recording this for my YouTube community. And if you are out there and you're watching, use this. And the nice thing is it's very small right now. So use this as a community to help you get through the next 2 weeks. So feel free to message me or comment or ask questions, and I will be a little more active on the channel now that I am getting a little bit better at recording and how this YouTube thing work, I think. So if there is a demand out there, I am happy to record more videos and answer questions on here. And again, you have the advantage of having my attention to yourself. So don't be shy. And if you get others that you know are also preparing and having questions, share this with them so that if they have questions, they may ask questions that you didn't know to ask, which means that it may be something that you thought, oh gosh, I'm so glad that was asked, because now I know that was a question that I also had to, but didn't know that I have. So appreciate you watching. And again, 2 weeks before the exam, make sure that you are keeping a good mindset and attitude and get plenty of rest. I will, if I get a chance, do a couple more videos about things to keep in mind for the next 2 weeks, but this should help you get started. Okay, I will yeah, so thanks for watching. Bye-bye.